I've got 10 more viewer-submitted Midjourney styles for you to try today. Just add these to the end of your prompt separated by a comma and you'll get images like what you see here. I want to thank everyone who submitted, and if you have any ideas you want me to try, leave a comment below. Now, the first style submitted is 1920s Aristocrat, so that has a pretty big impact on the image. You can see we get this old-fashioned style image here. When we start applying it to some characters like Pikachu, we get this nice old-fashioned brown suit, even the way he's standing. Same with the Hulk, his hair, he's sort of going a bit bald there, but the overall appearance goes back to that 1920s style. Even the Terminator got the tux and the bow tie, and then you go to Goku and even his hair's a bit refined, a bit more of an old-fashioned style image. But if you try something different like the futuristic car, you get that style of car, which I thought was a pretty nice touch. The next submission is Bankai from the anime show Bleach. It refers to a transformation from one of the characters in that. But after a little while, we're also got a follow-up in the style of Kathleen Kennedy. So starting off with Bankai style, you can see we do get that samurai Bleach style sort of image here. Add it to the Hulk, and he's sort of got like the top knot and a bit more of a sort of a spiritual demon look. The Terminator looking more samurai, a little bit more Bleach inspired. And of course, there's Deadpool dressed in white. You get that same thing, the two swords. And of course, we go to Barbie. I really love this picture of Barbie, the massive sword, the outfit, really cool. Whereas Mario gets the sword, he's got that fighting stance, ready to go. And of course, Pikachu, same again. Got the outfit, got the sword. So this is a really cool little character modification. Star Wars fans will be familiar with this one in the style of Kathleen Kennedy. Don't know if it got the effect that was desired. In this image, it just looks like Batman is Batman, but most of the other characters I fed into this try to turn them into a woman. I'm guessing it sees the word Kathleen and has a certain idea of what a woman named Kathleen would look like. So by feeding it a few characters, it tended to convert them mostly to women, but otherwise it didn't have a huge impact, but was a little bit of fun. But our next comment is Hajime Sorayama. So that's an artist with a very particular style, and you can see you get a bit of a glimpse of it here. But we start to add it to our characters. Everything becomes a very shiny, almost metallic-like. Everything has a shiny, almost leathery, shiny look to it. So as said in the comment, some of the images you get may not be suitable for YouTube, so you might get a few sort of risque images if you use this one, but overall it tends to make things very, very shiny, even with the car here, very reflective. And the Terminator, a little bit shinier than usual, but still a pretty cool image. But moving on, we also have Cronenberg body horror. Now I was instructed not to do this, which means I definitely had to do it. But the images I'm showing you here, I had to cut out most of them. So I've only gone for the cleanest ones. This Batman image where he looks a little bit zombified, looks like a zombified sort of toy. This one here has a bit of a horror feel to it. But what you mostly get is sort of gore, blood, bits and pieces of the body sort of in the face falling off. But these ones at least were clean, so I thought I would show them so you get a bit of an idea of what to expect. Next, we were talking about an old video where Darth Maul looks a little bit like the Jamaican singer Grace Jones. So the recommendation here was in the style of Grace Jones. And you can see the impact it's had here on Mario. Not just the way it has changed the character, but the thick chain, the super fancy glasses. We get the same with Hulk glasses, a little bit of a difference in his haircut, and it has a very dramatic influence on the characters. I'm really surprised by how much it's modified the characters in these prompts, but it's done a really good job of creating some really cool and unique characters. I love the fact that Darth Vader has these glasses and the chain here, but looks otherwise no different. And the Terminator, again, we can see that transformation, a very, very cool image. Our next submission I have played with before a little bit. We have Anamorphic or Anamorphism. I thought I'd start off with Anamorphic style, which is a technique used with cameras back in the day to shoot widescreen footage in a narrower image. And you can see it has that stretched color bled effect here. And there seems to be a certain effect that comes with this particular shooting style, and it's tried to apply it to the image. Quite often we just get like an anamorphic cinematic image. Other times you get that nice sort of color bleeding, sort of blue and red that's slightly separated, and it has an awesome or a really neat holographic feel to the images here. You definitely get a lot of reds and blues, that color palette, very strong. But when we move on and we try Anamorphism instead, we get something very similar but not quite identical. It's kind of like another spin on that same kind of like color bled effect, but also just the overall look of the photography as well. This looks more like just standard photography here. But you can see we get some weird different little effects here with Pikachu, and then of course with Goku again we get that kind of holographic feel, but we also get this weird kind of waviness to some of the images. In this one with Darth Vader we get the waviness and that kind of color bleed holographic feel to it, whereas the Terminator just kind of looks like an old version of Arnie's Terminator. But I highly recommend experimenting with that one as well. Now we have Try On Adventure, or in the style of 1930s adventure movie. So as you can see with On Adventure, we get this whimsical kind of look here. And when we apply that to our images, I have here a woman's face. We get like this really old-fashioned kind of like tales, fairy tale book image style. Darth Vader, a little bit more different, a little bit more of an art piece. But you can see here we get lots of nature, lots of storybook style illustrations. And I think it does a really good job. Now you don't get this with every image, but you do get it pretty consistently with a lot of them. So this can be also just a landscapes, tends to be a lot more outdoorsy, but a pretty fun style to play with. But when you add in the style of 1930s adventure, it gets a lot more dialed down. So this time we got more of a 1930s style to the photography in this instance. Darth Vader's wearing more of a 1930s style suit under his cape. We've even got like the little collar either side of the cape there. And Pikachu, he's like a detective from the 1930s. So what I thought was really interesting though is Hulk. I think they tried to reference the old 1930s King Kong movie and popped him in here. Whereas Goku, more of an old-fashioned sort of Japanese style of art added to him there. But the final comment covers a lot of different styles, even a prompt formula. So we're going to get straight into that with Extreme Freakout. There's a few different versions of Freakout here. So what we get with most of them is obviously just like some very high energy art and quite often a facial expression which shows anger or some kind of like freak out type event. And changing that first word definitely changes it a bit, but extreme is kind of like the modifier, as he said in his comment. So everyone has this extreme energy happening here. Even the car driving incredibly fast down the road. Darth Vader, there's a lot of energy. There's something happening around him despite the fact his face hasn't changed. We go to Existential Freakout though, and we get something a little bit more full of fear. So the Terminator looks like something a little bit creepier in this particular instance, but the Hulk here has seen some things. He is not looking too happy, and you move on to Pikachu, and again, he's just kind of shocked. There's not a lot of expression in Pikachu, we tend to get a lot of the same things, but Goku looking very upset there, looking very much in an existential crisis, and Darth Vader puts his hands to his face to show you he too is in a state of calm panic. But moving on to the postmodern Freakout, this is a little bit more of an art style applied to it. The Terminator, I love this look here. Looks a very, very different style for the Terminator. And Hulk, he's kind of like a large mountain in this particular instance. But again, Pikachu, he's just kind of got his mouth open. His freakouts tend to look the same everywhere. But Goku looks like he is at the end of his freakout, and he is kind of at the suffering point of it. Whereas Darth Vader, I think he has joined the force at this point, and his existential freakout has something to do with that. But economic freakout, I really thought this one was quite funny, the way it relies on cash and money. Darth Vader's not freaking out at all. He's just found some money. And Hulk looks like he's having trouble paying the bills. He's got the tie and the collar on for some reason. And the Terminator looks like he's kind of made out of cash. Hard to tell here. You switch to Goku, and he can see that he's got no money left in his wallet. He's having his economic freak out, whereas the car just looks like a car. But I thought I'd share it anyway because it's a cool image. And Nightmare Freakout. This one really dials up the fear factor on the expression. Terminator looks more like he's the cause of the nightmare, and the same here with the Hulk. Although the abstract style, I really love the detail they've added to this. And Goku is definitely freaking out, except he's fighting in his nightmare. And we move on to the futuristic car, and it's definitely got that nice glow effect to it. And Darth Vader looking a little bit more sort of fearsome in this particular image. But moving on, we have Insane Freakout. And this one really changed the facial expression of some of the characters. So, of course, Goku looking a bit different. His Insane Freakout a little bit different than what I expected. The Incredible Hulk looks terrified in this particular image, and even Darth Vader. I love the mouth and the eyes in this one. Was definitely not what I expected in the Terminator. Even he looks a little bit scared this time around. But of course, we go back to Pikachu, and he's just kind of freaking out a little bit, but a bit more of an artistic style added on top of it. Now, the next style I've played with, but I love revisiting, so I included it anyway, which was Claymation, in which it turns a lot of your images into Claymation style, kind of like clay model characters. Now, sometimes you get a slightly different look, but I would say probably 80% of the time you're going to get this really cool Claymation cartoon style applied to your characters in your images. Darth Maul, I love the way he doesn't really look like Darth Maul apart from the red and the spikes, but overall, you can see the effect it has here, and it looks really cool. But the next style I thought was also really cool, which is Bernini Sculpture. So these sculptures tend to have a lot of waviness and a lot of sort of really cool artistic flair added to them. You can see with Goku's hair and his cloak, same here with Pikachu, he's wearing like a robe and it's kind of like billowing around. It really has a cool impact on your images. Even Darth Vader here, just a really, really nice statue that I can see on my desk. The Hulk, we don't get the billowiness, but we still get that statue appearance, which I thought was really nice. But I really like this one of the Terminator. A little bit different than usual, but still had a really nice appearance. And Studio Ghibli style using Niji. Now, you would have seen a lot of this recently with ChatGPT's image generator, but overall, I want to see Midjourney does a really good job reimagining our characters as Studio Ghibli characters from movies. So the art style is there, the reimagining has a lot more detail though, it looks a lot more sort of high-end. I really like what it's done with all the characters in this particular prompt, but especially the car, the way it's completely reimagined the shot, the character laying in it was a really cool touch. But also Kawaii, another one I've touched on before, again, still worth revisiting. It tends to sort of create sort of female-like characters a lot of the time, kind of like the Kathleen Kennedy style, but more of an anime sort of niche style. I love what it does here. Darth Vader looks like he is dancing, which I thought was cool. That was just a really cool image on its own. But also the Terminator, the way it sort of added those elements in around the Terminator skull was pretty cool, while Pikachu just kind of looks like a magic wizard. But overall, the color, the style, the overall vibrancy, really awesome. And now our formula, which is the subject reimagined as something. I have used this recently, coincidentally, but we see here the Terminator is reimagined as an amusement park ride. But I moved on to the Hulk because I thought that would be a really fun one. Here, he's reimagined as a lollipop, and then we reimagined him as a futuristic car, again carrying that green, that thick muscular build over, and then reimagining him as a new Mario Brothers character. He's even got a H on the hat, which I thought was a nice touch. And Pikachu reimagined as a modern family home. I don't know if I'd want to live in that house, but I'd love to check it out. But reimagined as a gorilla, so you can see how you can have a lot of fun with this formula, get some really cool images. But also we have inflatable lawn decoration. Now this was a lot of fun and had a very consistent effect. Looks like something you would see at a kid's party. Every character tend to turn out pretty much spot on. Has that nice rippled effect at the edge of the balloon, which I thought was nice. But these look like actual photos of actual sort of like inflatable balloons. So I really loved what it did with some of these characters, even down to the style of it all. And the futuristic car even looks like a glow-in-the-dark sort of blow-up car, which I thought was cool. And we all know that Pikachu is going to look good in this particular style, so of course threw him in at the end, looking pretty good. But also we have Evil Incarnate, which has a really cool effect of turning characters very evil. Pikachu looks like he's about to start sinking his teeth into you there, whereas Hulk just kind of looks large and super powerful and angry at the world. But we move on to Darth Vader, looking a little bit more evil and ancient in this particular image. And the Terminator, again, he looks evil, he's always evil, just looks like a skeleton with sunglasses. Goku looks like he is gone beyond Saiyan. He is on fire, ready to kill. So little bunny Foo-Foo is another completely sort of contrasting style from the last. It does a great job of converting characters into bunnies. However, this was probably only half the time. A lot of them had bunnies with the characters, but I wanted to make sure we chose the best images so you can see these characters. Darth Vader just simply slaps some bunny ears on his helmet, but the Terminator I chose two because we got two Terminator bunnies here, which I thought was really cool. They both look evil, both have the red eyes. This one in particular looks particularly creepy and evil. And then of course Pikachu is just a little bit furrier than usual, slightly more bunny-like, but pretty much the same. But fairy tale villain. We've got a few different fairy tale characters here, and I love the way it does turn them into kind of fairy tale villains, which is a very visual sort of look at their anger, the redness, and even Darth Vader kind of looks like he pops a dress on in a lot of these. I don't know why. I love the way he kind of just dresses up for his evil role here, despite the fact he's already a villain. And the Terminator looking pretty full on as it is. Pikachu's just angry. Now, a lot of the Pikachus just turned out the same, but there's at least one angry Pikachu here, which was cool. But in contrast to that, we have Fairy Tale Hero. So we get something a little bit more calm, someone more in touch with nature. As you can see with Goku here, he's even got the backpack. He's on an adventure. Hulk, I don't know how he's supposed to look like a hero here, but a great image. Darth Vader, again, in touch with nature. The butterflies love him. He's not wearing a dress this time, so I don't know what kind of commentary it's making there. And the Terminator looks like an 80s cop movie, whereas Pikachu's kind of flying through the air, looking somewhat magical, so it's a little bit different. So then we move on to Fairy Tale Sidekick. This quite often produces two characters, but not always. Goku just looks like he's off on an adventure again. A little bit different dress for Goku. Whereas Hulk looks like the sidekick of a little boy in this particular image. And of course, Darth Vader. he is dressed up as a girl, yet again, carrying some flowers. Whereas the Terminator tends to have a youthful prince look added to him, which looks a bit different, and Pikachu, which looks like a much more extreme lit up version of Pikachu. Now, in the recommendation, it mentioned all three. So naturally, I took this phrase of all three in there and threw it at the end of my prompt. Goku, for some reason, in this one image turned out to be a little boy. Didn't look too much different from some of the other ones. But Darth Vader looks a little bit confused yet again. He's out in nature, just a little bit of a different style. This just looks like a cool image of the Terminator. I don't know what it sort of landed on here, but definitely some fairy tale type imagery here for the Hulk. The outside and nature tends to be a theme. And Pikachu, again, looking very fairy tale-like. Got a little crown made out of sticks and flowers, which is a nice touch. But those are the styles for today, guys. Thank you to everyone who submitted. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider giving it a like. Otherwise, hope to see you again soon. Have a great day.